Well, hello there. Good night to you all again. So, this is my review for episode 8 of Kakumeiki Valvrave, or Valvrave the Liberator, episode 8. So, this episode starts roughly when the last one ended, with all the people in the school, in the academy, still suffering by the news of Aina's death on the last episode. And this kinda makes morale go pretty low. And we see that they decided to kinda tied up Elf, and we at the start of the episode have a small flashback about Elf's past. It was good to learn a little more about his past. And apparently, the girl that is on the photo we have seen on the last episode apparently is the Dorssian princess. Well, probably the heir of the Dorssian throne, I'm guessing. So, and uh, LF kind of was trying to escape, I guess, military recruitment or something like that, and then he was being pursued by Dorssian soldiers, and he kind of took the princess hostage. And then we go to the episode. We see LF dreaming, and he's tied out in a room, and in that room we have that girl that is the vice president of the student council, and we also have the later on the guy Yamada, the bully of the place, and during the episode I will not doing it my review in a straight order. I will be by moments or scenes, and we have a scene between this Yamada and Satomi, the student council president, the blonde guy, and they are kind of discussing, and this guy Yamada is kind of saying that they need to arm themselves, they need to fight back, and so on, in the way to prevent another one or another friend's death. And Satomi he kind of does not agree with this idea. However, apparently Yamada is in fact able to get some weapons, because we see him later on the episode in the room with LF. He is carrying one or two machine guns or rifles or something like that. But the strange part of this, yeah, I kind of understand the arguments of the blonde guy Satomi, the student council president, that they saying that they are not soldiers. They are in a freaking war. They need to become soldiers, or in the least, some of them need to become soldiers. Because then we have in the episode we have another attack from the Dorssians, and they kind of distract Haruto and Rukino, and they try to launch an attack on space. They force the two Valvrave out, and then the infiltration group led by Adre kinda enters in the module again and takes over the combat ships that are inside. So they need to have a freaking army or a freaking police or something like that, if they intend to survive. I'm thinking that they need in the least to have some kind of military group, paramilitary group or something like that. Because, like we have seen again in this episode, the Valvraves were rendered useless in that fight. They were kinda ambushed and unable to move. And without the Valvrave, the guys don't have any kind of protection. Even the guy with the white shirt, he tries to go to the hangar of the Valvraves and take over one, and the guy is kind of wounded by the infiltration of the Dorssian soldiers that are blocking the path to the hangar. So Elf is right, and this plan to make some kind of military force or paramilitary force is right. And then we have again Elf talking to Haruto at the start of the episode, and he is again asking Haruto if he is willing to do the deal that he proposed. And Haruto is kind of not feeling that. And then when he is fighting on space, he kind of decides that he made the deal with Elf and kind of says to Elf that he accepts the deal and he will help Elf, but Elf needs to help them fend back the assaulting troops led by Adrei without zero casualties. And Elf kind of says that he can do it with 8 casualties, but Haruto insists, and then he kind of goes and tells a speech to Elf about freedom, friendship, and so on. And then he kind of, in a way, kind of convinces Elf to, okay, I will do it with 0 casualties. And then kind of Elf puts up again the plane to defend the model, and he kind of orders Haruto and Rukino to go to a place where they shoot the model, and they kind of free themselves from that silver tube that the Dorssians are using to render the Valvraves useless, and at the same time he kind of disturbs the sea or the lake inside the model and kind of disrupts the battleships that the group of Adrei is taking over, and is kind of bombing the school. So LF is, first of all, he is a soldier, then he is a good strategist, and they should actually listen to him more, because even if he has his own agenda, his own personal plans and so on, and I'm guessing that these personal plans go in the sense to meet the princess again, because we have also a scene at the end of the battle that Elf also goes to the battle using his own assault unit, and he kind of destroys the unit to render the unit of one of the Dorssian's soldiers, ex-Drains, the guy that is planning the strategy to render the Valvraves useless. He kinda, I don't know if he destroys the ship of this guy or if he seriously damage it. But he kinda gets drifting on space, and in the end Haruto did save him, and he says that all is according to the plan, and even the naivety of Haruto was within his own calculations. So the guy is a genius, he's a great strategist, and he's a soldier, a very capable soldier. So also we have two scenes with Commander Cain of the Dorssians, and they are quite strange. The first, when he appears right after, in the start of the episode, he is kind of receiving the report of Adrei that they took several pictures of the Valvraves in the hangars and so on, and he's kind of, ooh, very interesting and so on, you did well and so on. So he is quite, or he is especially interested in the Valvraves. And then we have other scene with the remaining Dorssians, and the group that was with LF, the 3 guys kind of bumped into the vice commander of Cain, and she kind of asks why the commander did not report the desertion of LF to the high ups, or the supreme officers of the Dorssian Empire. And they kind of speculate that probably the commander did not communicate the happening because he does not have enough information or something like that. She is not quite convinced about that argument, but she lets it slip. And then we have a second scene, and that is the more interesting. It's after they repel the Dorssian attack with using the Valvrave at full power or maximum power, and he kinda bursts a huge wave of energy that destroys a great number of ships in the Dorssian attacking fleet. And then we see the commander kinda saying, "Ah, I was right. This is Luna energy," or something like that. And then we have a scene that later on after the battle that he is looking again to the Valvrave's photos, and he's kinda with a creepy smile or something like that, and says that yeah, this will be very important to our family and so on. And then we see that he actually has something in his neck, two black spots. So I guess Commander Cain is doing all this attack, and he is trying to get the Valvraves not in the benefits of the Dorssian Empire, but to achieve his own and personal agenda. So I do wonder what is the goal of Commander Cain, and this kind of become even more interesting because apparently yes, he's the fleet commander of the Dorssians, but it appears to me that he has his own personal plans, his own personal agenda to trying several times to get the a hand on the Valvraves. So I kind of wonder what is scheming and planning. Um, and then we also have another scene with the princess and the elf, and kind of when the standoff between elf in his youth and the Dorsian soldiers kind of came to an end when the princess kind of cut part of his own hair and gave it to elf, kind of making a promise to exchange her own life for the life of elf, something like that. Well, after all this, apparently trying to get the princess, or eventually to try free the princess from the bureaucracy of the Dorsians, or from the Dorsian imperial family, or something like that, it appears to me that it is the goal behind Elf wanting to change the Dorsian Empire. It appears to me. I might be wrong, but it appears to me that is a question of love, I guess. And I think that Elf is kind of in love by the princess, so and he wants to change Dorsia because of her. I'm guessing. So I'm guessing that is the energy that drives LL forward. I'm guessing. And then we have a preview, and apparently on the next episode we will have a new Valvrave pilot. Because in the preview for episode 9 we kind of see an image of the blue Valvrave being active in battle. So I do wonder who will be the pilot of the blue Valvrave. For me, there are two possible candidates. The guy with the white shirt that is kinda in love with Aina, and he is very distressed, and he several times during this episode he is trying to go to the Valvraves, trying to get access to the Valvraves in the hope to avenge Aina's death. So that guy for me is one of the possible candidates to be the blue Valvrave pilot, and the second candidate for the blue Valvrave pilot. And I think that it will be very good and very badass if the guy actually could pilot the Valvrave. It was the guy Yamada, the bully, the thunder, the guy that he kind of has the actual military mentality, and he does not have fear to use weapons and to fight back. So I'm quite hoping that this guy Yamada, or the Thunder as he liked to be called, will be the pilot of the Blue Valvrave. But these two are my most possible bettings for being the pilot of the Blue Valvrave, in my opinion. In any case, this episode was very good. We have, well, the emotion of the loss of one member of that big family that is the school, and then we have great battle scenes with Haruto fighting the Dorssians, Rukino fighting the Dorssians, the battle in space, the battle inside the module. This episode was pretty good. It was not only action. We have suffering. We have the the feeling of loss of a comrade and a friend, and we kind of have Haruto, Kino. In a way, all the people in the school is kind of affected by Aina's death, and they kind of have, in a way, I guess, a head shock bump with reality. And that's what LF tried to do on the last episode was the right move to do, because the Dorsians, or in the least the group that is commanded by Commander Cain, they will not give up from getting the Valvraves, I'm guessing. And even after this episode, I have even more certain that he will not give up to trying to get his hands on the Valvraves for his own personal agenda. So this episode was quite good. The anime series of Kakumeiki Valvrave continues to be great. We have emotion, we have the feeling of loss of a comrade, and we have a lot of spectacular action scenes and battle scenes in space with the Valvraves, with Haruto, with Rukino, even with the Dorsians. So this was an excellent episode, and it has a little of all. Um, so it was an excellent episode. So this is my review for Kakumeiki Valvrave episode 8, or Valvrave the Liberator episode 8. So hope you enjoy, stay well, peace.